Last night, Sarah Marschke was crowned Miss World Australia. Now, for those of you who weren't there and you were trying to tune into the live stream, particularly on Facebook, you'd know that failed spectacularly. I don't know what exactly went wrong there with their sound. There was music playing over the top of it. We couldn't hear anything. But some of us were fortunate enough to get to watch it on Instagram live stream. Amazon_XX. I'm not sure what his actual name is, but thank you for that. When Sarah was crowned, when she was called out as the winner, I was pretty taken aback by some of the responses in the live stream comments. Now, you got to understand, I mean, audience will say whatever they want to say. And if you're not competing in pageants and you're just a member of the public, you can comment whatever you want. I mean, I think it still reflects on who you are if you put something nasty. Having said that, there were some pageant girls in there, some that I know. I also know that the directors of Miss Universe were watching. And when Sarah was called as the winner, one of them wrote WTF. Someone else wrote, and I don't know if this is a pageant competitor, but someone said that if Sarah won, that it was rigged. And I just think I was quite taken aback by that. I mean, full disclosure, I know Sarah. I wouldn't say that I know her well, but I would consider her a friend. I spent some time with her. And do I think she was a deserving winner? Yes. Do I think she was the most deserving winner? That's a question you can never answer, let's be honest, to everyone's satisfaction. Because especially when you have a personal investment, when someone's a friend or you've coached someone or they're your daughter, they're your partner, you can never be completely objective. But what I want to say is this sort of comment, like if you're a pageant competitor and you are watching someone's live stream, and I think it says a lot about you when you don't win, right? Because some of these girls, I know they were in the prelims, I know they were in the state finals for Miss World. They didn't get through. And just from my point of view, if you didn't get through and then you're watching the live stream on nationals and you see someone else win and you write WTF, I think it shows really poor judgment on your part. And if you don't think so, maybe consider who else is watching, because remember that everything in social media is out there permanently and you have no idea who's watching with you. So I know it wasn't the official Miss World Australia Instagram live stream as an example, but I don't know if the people commenting knew that there were some pageant heavyweights in the comments and they can see, they know some of you and they can see what you're writing. And I think if you are going to comment something, I get you might not have agreed with the choice, whatever, that's your prerogative. I have no problem with that. But I do have a big issue with someone like, I mean, you don't know how hard Sarah worked for the title. Now, again, was she the hardest working? Did she put the most in? I don't know. She probably doesn't know, and yet she was there. And the thing is, but people saying it was rigged, or people saying WTF, you weren't actually at the competition. You don't know what happened. And everything that you're saying is made up, right? It's gossip again. I did a video before on gossip and how much I hate it. And basically, unless you are actually there, you do not know what happened. So to be watching on someone's Instagram feed and then to see someone else win and you want to compete in this system, you're a pageant competitor, and you're writing something like WTF, I can tell you I'm not going to want to work with you. And I can tell you that I'm hoping that if you're a director and you're seeing some of these girls writing stuff like that in public and commenting something like that in public, I hope you don't encourage that behavior. And I certainly hope also that you don't have these girls compete in your system, because I think it really shows a lot of qualities about them that you wouldn't want in your system. Now, I know some people are going to say, and I touched on this subject maybe a day or so ago, Paige, I absolutely agree. Pageant has just written that's appalling. I know some people will argue that, I'm just expressing my opinion. I'm just being honest. I'm being forthright. And I'm going to call bullshit on that because, pardon my French, because you can be honest, you can have your opinion. You can also still have a filter on your mouth and realize when it is appropriate to say some things and when it's not. And, you know, in public, on a stranger's Instagram live feed, is not an appropriate place for you to be venting without any filter. If you feel that Sarah didn't deserve the win, fine, that's your opinion. I would question why you need to vent that in public, especially when you probably don't know Sarah at all. You've never met her. Maybe you've just seen her Instagram feed and then suddenly you think you have the right to judge her, that she's unworthy. But I just thought that was really disturbing. And this is coming from someone who I knew a lot of the competitors personally at World. And it was always going to be tricky for me watching it because even if one person that I knew won, other people that I knew didn't win or didn't make the top 10. And I got to say, it was pretty emotionally draining for me watching it, even though I wasn't there in person, because I know some of the girls, I know how hard they've worked. And so having said that, I also know how hard Sarah worked. And she shouldn't have to put up, no one should have to put up, not even in pageantry, just in general, no one should have to deal with people who are anonymous or people just want to take pot shots and saying things like WTF or saying things like it's rigged because you won. Because you're just talking crap. Like, you don't know. So how about if you don't know for sure, that you don't say that you know for sure and say things like it's rigged. Now, having said that, I do know of some pageants that have been rigged and very questionable practices in the very least, like large quantities of money, swapping hands, and then some sort of dodgy things like a competitor's mother paying for the whole venue. And that's okay. Is that above board? I mean, that's up for you to decide. But coming back to saying things like it's rigged and stuff, like, yes, of course it happens. Pageantry is not perfect, but nothing is perfect. But if you don't know, I'm going to beseech you to not make comments like that. And if you're not going to do it for yourself, just understand for your career, it's extremely negative to see someone who's a pageant competitor, I think, behave so poorly in public. And we talk so much about people wanting to be role models. I'm sorry, but if you're going to go in public on a stranger's Instagram live and comment that it's rigged simply because the person you wanted to win didn't win, I don't think you're much of a role model, and I don't think you have a place in pageantry, and I think you really need to have a very hard look at yourself. So, spoilers, do I think Sarah won? Absolutely. Am I biased? Absolutely. Do I think other girls there were deserving? Absolutely. Do I think there were other girls who were more deserving? I don't know. I wasn't there. But see, I think that's the balanced way to look at it. Pageantry is by its very nature subjective. It's not like a running race or a tennis match or an arithmetic test where you can say objectively, okay, this person did better. So there's always going to be someone a bit disappointed. But just bear in mind, it shows a lot. It shows more about your qualities when you lose. It shows more how you react to losing. It's easier to be a gracious winner. There are some people who can't do that well. But also, the person you're backing doesn't win. And here's the thing. If you're a competitor and you have, let's say, some family members or friends who are going to comment things like that when you don't win, you may actually need to have a word with them. Because, let's say, as I said, in this case, the directors of Miss Universe were watching. And if they see that you're kind of following, or your friends or your family are those sorts of people who, if you don't win, are going to post pretty negative comments, it does reflect on you. So maybe that's another aspect, another angle to have a look at it from. Jen has posting comments like that prove who you are as a person. Absolutely. And as I said, I know the person who commented WTF, and I simply I refuse to work with her, in the future, unless she decides to apologize. I don't think there's an explanation. I don't think you can possibly explain putting something up like that. I think you can apologize for it, because I believe there is such a thing as being able to forgive, forget, water under the bridge. But it was disappointing for me just watching, because I knew this person, that she would be writing something like that in public. I think you can have that opinion. I'm not going to make your opinion wrong, but posting it in public on a stranger's Instagram live, I think shows very, very poor judgment. And just remember, social media is permanent. You never know who is watching. And if you make one gaffe, like, it can take you years to build a reputation. It takes years to build a reputation. It takes one bad comment like that to absolutely ruin it. So for those of you who just tuned in and you're thinking about the title that maybe I've said Sarah doesn't deserve it, I'm absolutely not saying that. She's deserving. I know I know her. I don't know her particularly well, but I certainly know her reasonably well. And I do think she was deserving. If you're going to go into the argument of was she the most deserving for the winner, that's an argument that you guys can have in private. But just understand, we're all going to be subjective here. We're all going to have our favourites, and we're all going to be a bit disappointed if the person we're backing didn't win. Because in pageantry, look, there were 29 girls at World Nationals last night. There were some girls that didn't even make it to Nationals who I thought were deserving, and I was disappointed for them. But the people that I back and the people I call friends, don't go and post ridiculous rubbish in public just because they weren't picked. They can be horrifically disappointed, and I understand that, but deal with your disappointment in private, and don't make that one bad decision of posting some crap in public, because you might delete it, but I guarantee you someone screenshotted it or someone's seen it. And this is the thing in pageantry, everybody knows everyone. Now, you can say that's gossip, you can call it whatever, but I have heard, and I'm sure some of you have heard, a lot of things about a lot of competitors. And if you think you can be a bit of a bitch or a bit of a backstabber behind the scenes and that no one's going to find out, I got news for you, honey. You're absolutely wrong. I have heard some things recently and a couple of months ago and throughout my 2 or 3 years in pageantry. There are some people I will now not go near with a 10-foot barge pole, because I know they are absolutely untrustworthy, and they will probably say one thing to my face because of my position as an interviewer. They'll try and impress me, but I will not touch them. I will not support them. I will not like their posts. I will not follow them, because they've shown their qualities behind the scenes. But that's the thing. Behind the scenes is not as behind the scenes as you think it may be. So if you're out in public or you're on your social media and you're posting ridiculous shit, you have to stop. I would say you have to have a good, long, hard look at yourself to begin with. But you just got to stop. It's really bad. If you want to be that bitter sort of person, at least kind of please do it in private, and don't pollute someone else's winning moment with your crap. That's not fair. Maria Torres, hey Maria, has written, you should see the comments I've heard being yelled out from the audience by contestants' families. Yeah, absolutely. Like, I understand, like, if your daughter's up there, your girlfriend's up there, whatever it is, you want to yell, to support them, but at least applaud for the other people, and don't make certain remarks or certain noises just because you don't agree with the decision. It is, and Maria, I don't know, you can speak to this, but I can just imagine, like, if you're a director and you put so much of your heart and soul into organizing one of these events, and it's so hard to pick the winner because you know instinctively that you might make one woman's dream, you might be dashing another 20 women's dreams in the process, and it's such a hard decision to make. The last thing you need when you do make that decision, after all the, hand-wringing, is for someone to go, oh, rigged, or WTF, or what the F is this? It's like, oh, she didn't do it. Like, really? Like, unless you were actually there, you just don't know. And even if you were, like, I have not seen, thankfully, any of the Miss World girls post anything about Sarah being undeserving, thank God. But look, I'm going to leave it to you guys to sort out. If you're watching this and you watch this far, just think about what you're posting, because in this day and age, nothing is private. Everything is permanent. Even the things that disappear, like Snapchats or Instagram stories, if you post something up and you delete it, it's too late. Someone has screenshotted it. And whether you're a competitor, and in some cases, I'm sorry to say, directors have posted some really horrific things, really properly horrific things in public, and maybe deleted it after that. I'm sorry, it's just not right. And as I said, if you're not going to take anything away from this except this, just remember, it will take you years to build a reputation. It just takes one bad decision to ruin it permanently, really badly. And once you ruin your reputation, I'm not going to want to work with you. I'm hoping directors, if they have integrity, will not want to work with you. And I think the competitors also will not really trust you. And that's big in pageantry. And I can only speak for the Australian scene, but pageantry in Australia is very niche. Everybody knows everyone. And if you're bullying other people, whether it's overtly or passive aggressively, you're making derogatory remarks, you're posting things on Instagram, or you lose a pageant and you don't congratulate the winner, and it's that case of sour grapes, word gets around. You'd be surprised how quickly it gets around. Is that a bad thing? I don't know, because I like to find out who people are and before I work with them. And if you're going to be a bad sort of person and be a negative person and post things like WTF or that the pageant was rigged simply because you didn't win or your favorite didn't win, then that's something that I want to know about you, because then I'm not going to go anywhere near you. So I'm going to leave that here. I just sum up. Do I think Sarah was deserving? Yes. Do I think she was the most deserving? That's subjective. That's something that we can never work out for real. But keep it real yourself. Keep it positive. Post positive stuff. So say praise in public, criticize in private. I'm going to leave it there. I just wanted to clarify this and vent about this a bit. Hope you're all doing well. Have a great weekend, and I'll speak to you soon.